Hello everyone, Aiden the Aviator here, and welcome to my first video of 2022. I hope you all had a good holiday and New Year's celebrations. I certainly did. I received many models during that time, and in today's video, I'm going to show them off to you all. There are 11 models in total that we're going to be looking at today. I'll give a quick description about each model, who made it, any other details about it, and just some real-life information about the real aircraft themselves. So without further ado, let's get things started. The first model we'll be looking at today is this Air Canada Airbus A220-300, a fairly recent release by Gemini Jets. This aircraft is painted up in a Trans-Canada Airlines retro livery, which was originally worn by an Airbus A319 before that aircraft was retired. This aircraft is registered as Charlie Golf November Bravo November, and is a fairly new member to Air Canada's fleet. Her first flight and entry into service was in early to mid 2021, and she currently is in operation. There's not much else to say about this model. It looks much better than the regular Air Canada livery one I have. The cockpit windows look much better and more realistic to the real airplane. There's not much else to say, so we'll just move on. The next model we'll be looking at is this Canadian Airlines Boeing 767-300, made by Dragonwings. This aircraft is wearing the later Canadian Airlines livery with the Canada Goose on the tail, and its registration is Charlie Golf Delta Uniform Zulu. She was built in 1991 and was originally delivered to Asiana Airlines before joining Canadian Airlines fleet in 1998. She then became a part of Air Canada's fleet when Canadian merged with them in 2001. In 2017, she joined Air Canada's subsidiary airline, Air Canada Rouge, and remained in service with them until March of 2020, when she was stored and will likely be turned into a freighter like the rest of Air Canada and Rouge's 767s. Moving on to another Canadian Airlines model, we have a McDonnell Douglas DC-10-30, also made by Dragonwings. This model is a rather interesting one. It's wearing the older Canadian Airlines livery but has many employee signatures on it. It was a special livery that they had called Signatures or Spirit of Canadian. The aircraft herself, Charlie Foxtrot, Charlie Romeo Echo, had quite a colorful history, serving with the likes of Alitalia, PIA, CP Air, and VAS Brazil. She joined Canadian Airlines fleet in 1987 and remained in service with them until November 1999. She was eventually scrapped in 2004 though, after being stored and re-registered by the leasing company that owned her. A rather unfortunate end to a plane with such an eye-catching livery. Next up is a third Dragonwings model. This one is an Air Canada Airbus A340-300. It's the first A340 in my collection, and another addition to my large Air Canada fleet. The model itself is actually really nice, and is wearing the toothpaste or Arctic Blue livery that Air Canada used to use before the livery that they currently use. The aircraft, Charlie Foxtrot Yankee Lima uniform, had a very quiet career, working for only 2 airlines. She was delivered new to Air Canada in 1997 and flew for them until 2008 when Air Canada retired their entire fleet of A340s. She was then sold to Swiss International Airlines later that year and spent the rest of her life with them until she was withdrawn in 2016 and sadly scrapped in 2019. And speaking of Air Canada's new livery, here it is on this Boeing 777-200LR model made by Phoenix Models. After all this time, I finally have both an Air Canada 777-300 and a 200. My 300 was actually one of the first ever models I obtained, and for so long I searched for a 200. This one is registered as Charlie Foxtrot India Uniform Juliet, and has spent her entire career with Air Canada thus far, ever since she was delivered back in 2007. In July of 2020, she was put into storage along with the rest of Air Canada's 777-200s due to this ongoing pandemic, and the downfall of passenger numbers. However, just earlier last month, in December of 2021, she has since been put back into active service. Next up, we have another relatively new aircraft, a British Airways Airbus A350-1000. And let me just say, I absolutely love the A350 in British Airways livery, and I've wanted to get a model of this one forever. I've even seen it landing in Toronto a couple of times, and it is absolutely beautiful. This one is Golf X-Ray Whiskey Bravo Charlie, and it was delivered to British Airways in November of 2019. Much to my annoyance, I've seen both of her sister aircraft, X-Ray Whiskey Bravo Bravo and X-Ray Whiskey Bravo Delta in Toronto, but I have yet to see X-Ray Whiskey Bravo Charlie. Not much else to say about this model, so we'll move on to the Queen of the Skies herself, an American Airlines Boeing 747 SP in the iconic bare metal livery. American Airlines operated two Boeing 747 SPs for a very short period on trunk routes from 1986 to 1994. This one, November 601 Alpha Alpha, went through quite the list of owners before and after American Airlines. Her final owner was a private charter company called Air Finance, who took her on in 1999 and operated her until she was seized by the Luxembourg Airport Authority in 2001 to recoup the airport parking fees. Sadly, she was then broken up for scrap. However, a part of her still exists today. Her cockpit and a portion of her upper deck were saved by the cargo airline Cargolux, who currently uses it for emergency evacuation training at Luxembourg Airport. An interesting bit of information that I found when I was looking up images of this aircraft. Who would have known? Moving from one 747 to another, here's a Korean Air Boeing 747 SP, which was also made by NG Models. I actually have several 747 SPs from them, by the way. This one, though, came with some assembly required. When I got it for Christmas, the nose gear wheels had fallen off the strut, so I had to carefully slip the pin back in and glue the wheels back on. On top of that, one of the horizontal stabilizers was also loose in the box, so I had to glue that back into place as well. Not a huge issue, but still kind of annoying. This model is of Hotel Lima 7456, which was delivered to Korean Air in 1981. After operating for two other owners, she was scrapped in 2006. Not a whole lot to say about this, so we'll just move on to the next model. Next we have a model that I was not really expecting to get. This is a Varig Boeing 767-200 made by Aeroclassics. This was a mystery model from the retail that it was bought from, so it was wrapped in wrapping paper and sold at a cheaper price. You had no idea what you were buying until you actually unwrapped it, and I've gotten a few of these over the years and not really been disappointed as of yet. This one is registered Papa Romeo Victor Alpha Charlie. She was first delivered to Malev Airlines, which was the national airline of Hungary, in 1993. She joined Varig's fleet in 2007, but it was very short-lived, as Varig was soon to be merged with GOL Airlines. The aircraft remained in GOL's fleet until she was retired in 2011, and then scrapped in 2015. And here we have probably the most unique model in my entire collection, the Virgin Galactic White Knight II made by JC Wings. White Knight II is the carry plane for the Spaceship Two space plane, and this model is technically two aircraft in one. The White Knight II is named VMS Eve and is registered as November 348 Mike Sierra. And this Spaceship Two is named VSS Enterprise and is registered as November 339 Sierra Sierra. VMS Eve first flew in 2008, while VSS Enterprise began testing in 2010. Tragically, on October 31st, 2014, the VSS Enterprise broke up during a powered test flight over the Mojave Desert due to pilot error. This resulted in one of the two test pilots being killed and the other seriously injured. As I said, I was honestly not expecting to get this model at all, as it is very hard to find these days. The last model we'll be looking at today is this Canadian Airlines Boeing 737-200, also made by Aeroclassics. This aircraft is wearing the early 2000s Air Canada livery, as this was just prior to Canadian Airlines merging with Air Canada, as I mentioned earlier in this video. This model also has the titles of the Liberal Party of Canada on it, as this aircraft was chartered for their use during the 2000 federal election. Charlie Golf Charlie Papa Yankee spent most of its career in Canada, first operating for CP Air from 1981 to 1987 until the airline merged with Canadian Airlines. It stayed with Canadian until 2001 when it joined Air Canada's fleet. It then joined a Canadian airline called Zip in 2003 and then to an Indonesian airline called Merpati in 2004. It was then stored and scrapped in 2008. Since So that concludes this little model show-off video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope to do more model showcase videos this year, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. I have plenty of videos planned for 2022, and I look forward to seeing where my channel goes this year. 2021 was a big year for my channel. We passed 1,000 subscribers, 2,000, and 3,000 subscribers all within a couple of months. I really can't thank you guys enough for that. My one video about 10 aviation accident audio recordings absolutely exploded near the end of this year. I have another similar video in the works, so again, keep an eye out for that. Thank you all so much for the support on this channel, and I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all had a good holiday, and hopefully this year will be much better. Thank you all for watching, and have a good one.